Welcome. I'm just kidding. Welcome to EFL Teacher Talk with Sean G. I am Sean Gallagher, your host. I am not sick today. I was sick last Saturday when I usually broadcast. So I thought today, for today's topic, I would like to talk about 10 ways to stay healthy as an EFL teacher, especially if you're in a colder climate like in Japan during the winter. I work with kids. I teach EFL kids classes at EFL a lot. Kids are coming in. They're coughing. They're picking their nose. I'm lucky if I don't get it on me. And it's just there's stuff everywhere. I have teachers dropping like flies. I have to jump into class and cover for stuff. So I thought today we're talking about the most important thing that you have in your life, which is your health. So 10 ways to stay healthy in your EFL classroom. And let's get into it. So number one, the single best way to stay healthy in your classroom is to wash your hands often with soap and dry it with a towel. You're actually wiping all the bacteria and stuff. You're rinsing it down the drain. You're wiping the stuff off your hands. It's gonna really help you stay healthy. That's kind of obviously, this is like mom talking to you or whatever. But I think as EFL teachers, we're really busy and we're trying to teach, 6 or 7 classes a day. Wash your classes between every break. Wash your hands between at each class break. Whatever you can do. Even today, like I only washed my hands twice today. I should have done it more. So just a reminder out there, the more often you can wash your hands, the healthier you'll probably stay in your classroom. Number 2, if you have a child who's in your class who is coughing, thanks, Mom and Dad, for sending your sick child to school. That's wonderful. So if you're stuck in a class with a child or a student, an adult student who's coughing and who's obviously sick, there's a couple things you can do. Try and get some decent air circulation in there. Crack a window, open a door, create some distance between you and the student. I like to do that. I put a table in front of him. I'm like, dude, get away from me. So those are some ways you can do. With the children, we actually have masks here at the school, and I will require, if a child's coughing, I'll put this on him. If he doesn't want to put it on, he can leave my class. So it's a health and safety issue. So those are just some of the things you can do if you get stuck with a sick student in your class. Another thing that you can do is if you teach children, especially if you're teaching them like on a preschool level, you can maybe teach them to cough, into their elbows, not cough, bleh, directly onto your face, which is like surprisingly common here in Japan. But yeah, so just teaching them some general hygiene like that. Keep your fingers out of your nose. If you're going to cough into your elbow or at least turn away from me. Please do that. So that's number 3. Number 4, this is a great one. Number 4, I love this thermometer because we have a policy at our school that says if your child has a 37-degree temperature or higher, we will call you and we will send your kid home. And that's actually following a public safety guideline put forth by Nagoya City, by the Child Care Welfare Office. I'm not exactly sure what that's called, but it's a guideline that our Hoiku staff have told us. So I love this guy because if a kid's really sick, they have a fever, we have an out. We can get them out of the classroom, into kind of a quarantine type of area, and the parent will come and pick them up. So yay. And of course, they don't want to do that. It's a pain, but I don't want a sick child in my class either. So, and you can always say like, oh, we're just following the rules. So that's usually a pretty good thing to do. Number 5, another thing that you can do to help protect your health in the winter is to buy a fancy thermometer. I love this thermometer. I think at the, DRE Tech, Dre Tech. At the top there, you can see it has the actual temperature. That's what that's called. The temperature. Oh, nice glare there. And it also has a humidity setting right there. See? It has a humidity. We have 60% humidity. And there's also a little happy face here that sometimes if the humidity gets too low, the face will be like, it'll be like this little sad face in there. So this is a great reminder of me to turn on our humidifier that I bought because more humid, influenza hates humid air. So if you have a humidifier running, it's going to help things out. It's going to help everybody's public health in your school. So that thing helps me keep track of it. Number 6, wipe all surfaces, especially surfaces that get touched a lot. I'm talking about computer terminals, especially if you're sharing it with somebody. Obviously tables that are used in the class, that's the obvious one right there. Everybody's touching that thing. Maybe whiteboard markers, but basically anything that gets a lot of touching done to it should be wiped down at least daily, maybe twice a day. I think a disinfectant is better, but even just a simple wipe down with a wet cloth is a lot better than nothing. So that's another tip there. Number 7, if you actually, if those defenses fail and you actually start to get sick, there's a bunch of stuff you can do. I actually looked this up, and I will post this as part of the comment here. The most, antimicrobial substance that you can consume is garlic, especially in its raw form. And there's a study that they have on this, and I'll make sure I post it down on the link below. But if you eat a little bit of raw garlic, I know whenever I feel that I'm getting a sore throat, you can feel it, right? You can feel the infection starting. I eat a little bit of raw garlic, usually either in first thing in the morning or at night, and it usually takes the edge off of it. It'll reduce the severity and the duration of my symptoms. So that's a home remedy that you can try. I think ginger has similar properties. I know daikon in Japan also does. Honey and lemon to some extent helps a little bit in this way as well. But in the study that I'll cite on the comments below here, the number one thing was raw garlic, which is very bitter, and it might not be so good for your stomach, but it will sure help you get over whatever is ailing you a little bit faster. Number 8, don't try to not touch the inside of your nose or touch your eyes or touch your mouth, right? Because what happens is you touch the table, and then you get some bacteria on your fingers, and then it gets into your system one way or it'll get into your system if you touch your eyes or your nose or your mouth. So I know it's really hard for us, especially if you're in the habit of just kind of touching yourself, if you have an itch on your nose or something. If you can kind of train yourself to not do that, or a lot of times if I have an itch, boom, I'm doing that. I'm doing anything but my fingertips, because I know that my fingertips are probably filthy fingertips. No comment there. Okay, another thing, so number 9, I already said this, is a humidifier, and also just stay hydrated. I think as teachers, especially language teachers, we spend all day talking. We're talking and talking and talking, and I think it's easy to get dried out. Also, I think in the winter, I think you don't notice it as much when you're dehydrated because, you're not sweating, and I think your body kind of forget to drink water. I know that I forget to drink water often. So just stay hydrated, and also, using a humidifier keeps the air moist, and that's better to keep stuff out of your system, the humid air. And number 10, just when you get home, I know I do this. When I get home, first thing I do is I change clothes. And ideally, I'll go directly in front of the washing machine and just dump, take off my shirt and just dump all my clothes directly into the washing machine, because your clothes will have some like germs and stuff on them, right? So if you almost like decontaminating yourself as you go home. And then I'll wash my hands and I'll gargle with like water, and that helps. It's not 100%. I just got sick last week, but I wasn't down for very long. It took me about maybe 4 days to get over it, and I think because I was doing a lot of this stuff up here. I slept a lot. I hit it with garlic several times. And that's that. So very good. How'd we do today? Oh man, we are under 10 minutes. This is the best spent 10 minutes of your week right now, just talking about how can we try and protect our health as English teachers in the EFL classroom. If you have any tips or comments or just things that you do that helps you stay safe and healthy inside of your classrooms, please leave a comment below to talk about it. I'd love to hear about any tips that anybody else has, or if I've missed anything over here with this list. So that's it for this week, and I hope everybody has a great week of teaching and staying healthy in class, so we can have a great end to our classes this year. So that's it, and signing off for now.